guys, it's been
This is, for context, how much money my indie game made after 1 month. So we will
Slime Keep is
see.
a top-down action roguelike where you must kill and capture slimes to stop the corruption that has infected your land. Anyways, in this video, I wanted to break down everything regarding Slime Keep's launch, from my marketing
So
strategy,
now we are
to the
seeing
reception, and of course,
what it's
how much
like
money
to
I
be an
made from
indie game
launch.
dev, and
So
I
at the
have
end
a
of the
little
day,
experience
that's
in this
probably what
one. So
you're here. So if you're just curious about
I
the
will
numbers, you
see
can skip to this
how well
screen,
it
or check out
holds
all the
up.
timestamps in the description. However, I'd really recommend watching from the start to fully understand
Don't worry,
the
we'll watch from the
context,
beginning.
as I personally think it's running up to launch. I slowly started to shift a lot of my time towards marketing Slime Keep instead of working on the game itself. Now, obviously, my biggest
Yep,
marketing
it's
tool I had going for me was
towards the end of development. 90% of your time isn't actually developing the game; it's actually drawing and coming up with marketing material for the game. Every single time, that's what happens.
this YouTube channel you see right now. As you may know, I've been making devlogs on the game's development for the past 5 years, and I'm super grateful to have an audience of you guys who've enjoyed watching the process of me making the game.
And it
Now,
looks like
this
you
is
did a great
awesome,
job
but I also
too. It
wanted to
looks
market the game
great.
in other ways, and ideally have people play the game who have never heard of me or
Oh,
my
it actually
YouTube
looks
channel.
really good too.
So a few months before launch, I spent a ton of hours watching marketing GDC talks, reading blog posts, and developing a $0 budget marketing plan that would hopefully work. Mainly, I gathered a massive
$0
list of
marketing
YouTubers
plan.
and streamers.
I actually think I'm interested in hearing this one because I've done a $0 marketing plan a couple of times, and it's fun.
Similar games
Let's
to
put it
mine,
that way.
and they hope that they would feature the game on their channel. I did this by using tools like Solely Gnome to find Twitch streamers, and just plain YouTube searches to find YouTubers, by searching things like roguelike Let's Play, or insert game here similar to mine, Let's Play. After a few months or so, doing a little bit each day, I had the emails of about 250 YouTubers and streamers. And this list was pretty curated in my opinion. I did my best to find streamers and YouTubers who actually seemed like they might enjoy my game. For example, I didn't want to send Slimekeep to an inactive channel or a channel that covers very different types of games.
Fair.
As for actually reaching out to these influencers, I read a few blog success stories from other games.
So already, his experience. I did try to do this a little bit, but I didn't go as in depth as he did, and I might actually try
how they did
try
things
this
in order
out.
to hopefully catch the eye of at least a few big YouTubers.
Because what he's saying is a really, really good tactic, especially if like you want at least someone to play your game.
Very difficult, and I probably would have a low success rate, but I also knew it would just take 1 or 2 big YouTubers to make a video on Slimekeep and have their influence cascade down the chain.
Yeah.
After many iterations, I drafted up this email template to send out. I started with the Slimekeep logo to hopefully catch people's eyes and introduce myself in the game. I then mentioned how I thought my game might be up the influencer's alley, and for many YouTubers, I also included a personal note here, as I generally do or did watch many of the creators that I reached out to. I then gave a brief description of the game, a link to the trailer, a free Steam key, a GIF of some of the general gameplay, and finally some
Steam
other
key is
logistical
probably the
input.
best.
I'm not sure if this is the most ideal email template. I'm no master at this, but I just want to be open and share my process, as I think it's cool to see how this kind of stuff works behind the scenes as a game dev. Anyways, with this
I am
strategy
about
ready
to
go,
launch
I
another
started
game
emailing
on
these
Steam,
content
so I
creators
might try
around 2.5
doing
weeks
this.
before launch, sending around 20 emails a day, 10 in the morning and 10 in the evening, as I was really cautious about potentially triggering Gmail spam triggers and didn't want to take any risks. If you're curious, these were the subject lines I switched between using to add some variation to each email and hopefully catch the reader's attention. I also emailed around 10 keys to game journalists who had covered similar games in the past and made a press release on gamespress.com, which I'm not sure if that did anything. Finally, I made
Probably
a few
didn't
Reddit
do
posts on
much, but
popular
it still
subreddits and
helps.
used this
Everything
tool called
helps
curated
with
email
when
seeing, which I didn't
advertising.
know existed, but figured it wouldn't hurt.
Literally, people don't understand. 90% of being a fucking indie developer is being a social media marketer. It is one
Now,
of
as
the
for how many
most
YouTubers
frustrating things I think I have ever had to deal with. You would think, make a good game, launch it, make good fucking marketing material for it. You should be done, right? No. No. You just got the boulder probably 2 feet up the hill, Syphilis. I pronounced that wrong. You're not even halfway there. We gotta keep rolling. Because like he said, you're not gonna get traction unless at least 1 or 2 YouTubers, big YouTubers, pick up your game.
played the game on their channel, how many upvotes my Reddit post got, and how many press outlets
Let me
covered
put it to you this way. I started making YouTube videos hardcore this year because I think it's actually easier to become a YouTuber than it is to become an indie game developer, because it is actually easier to collect a following doing this than it is to put a product out there without an actual person attached to it.
Game. I'll get into that in just a second, but for now, let's talk about launch day. I was honestly expecting the launch day for Slime Peep to be one of the craziest days of my life, and while it was pretty
Launch
hectic,
day is normally boring.
it was also kind of chill. I woke up, fixed some last minute bugs, and then just pressed the release button on the game.
Yep.
For the next few hours, I did
Release
all of
my game,
day
you
of
just type it
promotion
in
stuff,
there,
such
and
as
then hit
releasing
go.
the recap devlog on this channel, making my Reddit posts, and constantly interacting with my Discord to make sure there were no game-breaking issues. And overall, while there definitely were some soft locks and bugs that needed to be fixed, there were way less than I expected, so I was pretty happy overall, and the game seemed pretty playable, at least from what I could tell. One concern though was that the game was
That's
a
really
bit
good.
easy
You did a
apparently.
really good job.
I don't know. This is something that I've tried to consider for a while now, as I know for some players this will be their first roguelike, and for others this will be their 100th roguelike. But it did seem that I had things a bit too easy at launch, as some people were literally beating the game on their first run, which was not my intention whatsoever.
At all. I was going to
So
say
I spent
any
the next few
roguelike,
days
you
making
should
very
be not
necessary
facing
tweaks
the
to get
final
game's
boss on your
difficulty
first
and
run,
risk-reward system
even if
to
it's
where I
your
wanted
100th roguelike.
But in general, besides a few small hiccups, it was a pretty solid launch day, and I felt optimistic for the game. Currently, Slime Peep has a 94% positive review score on Steam out of 84 reviews, which don't include copies given to my playtesters and contributors, which total to a bit over 100. This is genuinely way higher and better than I expected, so I'm really glad most people seem to enjoy the game. There were so many
The
positive
thing
reviews
is
that
if you actually make a good game with a solid gameplay loop, normally people will like it. Like, I found that. Like, a lot of times people don't like my games is because I got experimental and I got too weird with it. If you stick to a solid format that people understand with good visuals and a decent format, 9 times out of 10 people are going to really like it.
make my day and make the whole process feel worth it. That being said,
I shoot myself in the foot by trying to do something different. If I stick to the line, which I kind of did with my last game, and a lot of people really liked it, my games would probably get better reviews than they are.
I don't know how biased many of these reviews were because of people had seen my videos, and there still was plenty of fair criticism. As expected, some people had issues with the game's lack of controller support, bright color palette, and some of the design choices, which was totally fair.
Which, I mean,
Also, a lot of
nothing's,
the people who left
what am I trying to say? Everything can be criticized. Nothing's perfect. Except
negative
for
reviews
Expedition
only
33.
played the game for like 30 minutes on average. Like, what? You can't judge a game and leave a review after playing it for only 30 minutes.
But people do it. People do it all day
Anyways, when
long.
creating
I've
the
had
game,
it
I
so
knew it
many
wouldn't be for
times.
everyone, as at the end of the day, it's a passion project for me, and it's something that I would want to play myself. So I totally understand it when people say that the game isn't their cup of tea. I was just really happy to see that the game did seem to find an audience that genuinely seemed to enjoy it and look forward to the future. Alright, it's the moment you've all been waiting for, so let's get into it. As of making this video, Slime Peep has sold 1,751 copies
Damn.
on Steam. Now, your logical conclusion to this
Oh no,
number might
he
be to simply
fucking
multiply
nailed
it
it
by
for like what,
$15,
$3
which is the
bucks?
price of Slime Peep on Steam.
Oh, for
And hey, I
$15?
just made over $25,000.
No, because you owe us Steam 30%. You owe Steam 30%, and also, depending on what software you use, you might owe other people money.
But this isn't the full story, so let me break things down a bit. Firstly, not everyone who bought the game kept it in their
Oh
library.
yeah,
Around
refunds too.
17% of Slime Peep game
Which
copies
isn't
were
bad.
funded. This kinda sucked, but from reading about this, it seems typical for games on Steam to have 10 to 20% of copies refunded, and it's just the
As
price
it's
you have to pay. Next up, you have to consider that the game launched at a 20% discount, making it $12 instead of $15.
And
And since the majority of game sales occurred during
Well,
this
that's his
sale,
fault.
there goes around another 15% of our revenue. Then we also
Yeah,
have
that's
to consider that
100.
not
Sorry
everyone
about
bought the
that. I
game
had to
at
grab
full
my
price
charger.
in US dollars.
Yeah, that's
Steam
100% his fault. He
converts
shot himself on
currencies
it
with your
in the
game,
foot on revenue on that one. I mean, sure, it gets more people to click on it and buy it, but at the end of the day, you want that launch revenue to be as high as possible.
So, for example, someone in Brazil doesn't have to pay a full 2 days of labor just to be able to buy Slime Peep. So there goes another 5-ish% of our
Oh, that
revenue.
as
I
well.
also
You do have to think about region and country and everything. There are versions of skills and slimes I've sold at full price for the region for only 75 cents USD. But in their country, I think it's like equivalent to like 10, 20, like to in their country it's worth a lot of money, but I put it down for as low as I possibly could in countries like that because I also understand what the difference in economics is and everything, and I know they can't drop like he said, like half their fucking income, like 2 whole days of work
also have to
on a
pay
game
VAT
that's not
or
that
value
great.
added tax, which from my research seems to be roughly another 9-ish%. So yeah, this number is starting to look a bit less impressive. And well, all of this doesn't even include Steam's 30% cut. Then the final thing to consider is that Snipepeep wasn't entirely free for me to make. I had to pay my composers, pay for some art and game assets, pay for some legal stuff, and just a bunch of other
Oh, and
random
he also
expenses.
paid for
I
development
don't have an
costs
exact
too,
number on
so
this, but I'd estimate it to be somewhere around $6,000 to $7,000 total of game-related expenses over the course of the past 5 years.
Jesus.
So you can do the math on things and realize that, yeah, it's safe to say that I am by no means a millionaire because of Slimepeep. Now shifting gears, let's talk about the results from my mini marketing campaign. Firstly, something that I didn't really consider all too much was Steam's promotion that they do for you in the days/weeks leading up to your game's launch. Around a week before launch, I had roughly 17,000 wish lists for the game. However, since Snipepeep was launching on a Monday, I was lucky enough to get number 2 on Steam's popular coming page
Oh
for pretty
shit,
much all
okay.
of Friday, Saturday,
I
and
was gonna say,
Sunday.
yeah, actually,
This
that's
led to around
huge.
2 million Steam provided
That's
impressions,
technically a success in
56,000
the indie
visits to the
space.
Slimepeep Steam page, and 4,000 new wish lists, meaning the game launched with about 21,000 wish lists. Anyways, as for me emailing content creators, I ended up sending out 237 emails. Out of these 237 emails, 30 content creators actually claimed the game on their Steam account. Then out of these 30 content creators, 9 of them created content on the
Sounds
game
about
in some
right.
way through either a Twitch stream or YouTube video. These videos and streams combined got around 25,000 total views, and I should also mention that my launch day recap devlog received 75,000 views.
Oh, so yeah,
Overall,
that
it was super
also
cool to
probably was huge, and he
actually see
had
people play and enjoy my
a
game on their
channel that
channel.
built up the development of it, which is also huge for an indie developer. Any indie developer that's on up and coming needs to do that because that's huge for marketing.
But I also won't lie, I was still a little disappointed as I was really hoping for it to happening, so oh well. Though it was still super cool to see all these smaller and mid-sized creators create content on their game, and I really
Hell,
enjoyed
that's a
watching so many
success on
different
its own, especially like when you're just a single creator. That's a huge success on
Also,
its
I guess
own.
it's never too late, so Slimesicle and so many of you other guys, if you see this, please make a video on the game. I know you have the key, and I think you'd really enjoy it. And if you guys know any other roguelike or indie game YouTubers, please do consider asking them to play the game. That would be
Hey,
something I would
anybody
love,
who
and there's probably
wants
a good
to
chance I
play
already
this
sent them a
dude's
key or
game, play it.
email, but we'll just have to see how things go in the future. Anyways, emailing content creators wasn't the only bit of marketing I did. I ended up creating.
Posts will always.
I doubt this really did
Nope,
much.
he's
and I
wrong.
intended to
They'll
post
always.
more, but many
All
of
my
posts kept
copies I've
getting
ever sold of my
I don't
games
know,
have
I
been
thought
from
I
Reddit
read each
posts.
subreddit's rules, but oh well. I also sent keys to 66 curators through Steam's
No,
Curator Connect program.
I'm gonna uncover the veil of a unsuccessful indie developer a little bit. This is what I would call a moderate success story. This is not like obviously he didn't fucking rise to riches and fame, but I would say this is a sustainable yearly. Not, I wouldn't say yearly income, but he definitely made a bigger income than doing any other hobby, you would say. Especially over a 5-year course, like you would say he made next to nothing, honestly, really. But I have made probably a roughly around like 5 or 6 games now, and all of them all together have made me probably about $500 altogether, and like the entirety grand scheme of everything that I've ever made. Um, and I think mostly because like I've never had a Reddit thread take off like his. He had over 300 upvotes. I've literally never had anybody fucking have a Reddit thread go up that high on one of my games. Mostly because my games don't look as good as his do. I will say he's got a banger looking game there with a simple game design like premise and everything, and that's another reason why it did so well. because it is a simple game that executes what it's trying to do well, and it with a good visual style. But if you're someone like me who sucks at drawing, which I do, I try to improve all the time, but I can only work with what I can do. So if I can only draw stick figures, I can only make games about stick figures. So that's what I got to work with. I've got to work extra hard on making sure that the mechanics are extra fun. So that's why I normally focus on trying to make experimental gameplay loops. And I really feel like I'm getting close to something actually. I'm just trying to really nail down a premise of what I really want to do. Another thing. Uh he messaged YouTubers, even having a middle grade YouTuber review or play your game live is huge. Like he said, around 25,000 people saw his game for free, no advertising. That's so huge you don't even know. Like I would say um on my itch.io, I just released a game called Drugs and Gambling. It didn't go on Steam or anything, so like it didn't hit like mainstream or anything else like that. That's one reason it hasn't had a lot of eyes on it. But I made like I want to say 5 Reddit posts about it in relevant threads pertaining to the category of what the game is and everything else like that. And only I want to say like 12,000 people saw it. So, and on top of that, only out of those 12,000 people that saw it, only 800 played it. So that's huge that he had 25,000 people see it and actually see it in motion being played by someone that's giving a review about it, because then those people might go and play it themselves. So like he's downplaying a lot of these things that are like actually pretty huge for a small time creator, cuz like what he's also not taking into account is he doesn't do this full time. I mean, I don't even do this full time, but like if you wanted to do this full time, getting this much of a success and getting your name out there this hard, because he can go back to those YouTubers and those YouTubers might play it again or make another video again on it. And he's got more fans based off of the game that he's already come out with. He's already gotten more than I probably had ever dreamed of. That's the perfect start. He comes out with a sequel and listens to the criticism of the first one, or comes out with a new game, because like a lot of the criticisms kind of came to the core philosophy of his game. But if he comes out with a new game, he's already got a dedicated fan base that will now spread his next game, and he can build his business off of that. So yeah, he's downplaying this, but like a lot of this shit that he did is actually huge.
Game, so there's that, but I also doubt this did much. As for emailing the press, out of the
Steam Curator Group does nothing. I will say that. Steam Curator Group does absolutely fucking nothing. I have sent my games to every single one of them. Most of them claim my keys and then try to sell them on third-party websites. Most of them are scammers.
emails I sent, one outlet being roguelicker.com covered the game. This was honestly
he got a fucking review on a yeah. No, he so fucking made out like an
pretty cool
indie game bandit.
So what's mostly yes. The game
I would say yes. I would say hardcore yes.
I learned so much from working on the game. Although financially, it's hard for
me
to
classify he had a success. It would not be a financial success, but it would be an overall success.
Pouring my heart and soul into the game over the past 5 years. And if I'm being honest, money is something that's really hard for me to talk about.
Another thing that he fails to realize is because he worked on it for 5 years, I bet you if he tried to do it again, he'd have it done in 6 months. 6 months to a year. Easily. Because when you're designing something like that, you are doing it for the first time, but doing it again, Over the years, I've created a lot of games, and like my last one, Drugs and Gambling, I was able to make over the course of 4 days, pretty much altogether time I actually spent on it. And it's probably one of the best games I've ever made, and it's one of the fastest games I've ever made, and that's because of how much experience I've put in. And I've only put in probably about like 4 years of experience in total. I'm rounding out to about 5. So he has about the same level of experience I do. He could probably churn out a small indie game in like 2 or 3 weeks that isn't terrible, and then still have his fan base fucking jump on it and enjoy it and make a decent amount of money off of that. So he is right. It is not a financial success, but I would call this a success overall, because leaving an internet footprint or an internet fingerprint of any kind is great for marketing and great for your business in the future.
When talking, one of the first questions I get is, how much money did you make? As if it is the
It
ultimate
is
indicator
every
of the
time.
success of a project.
Every
On one hand, I don't
single
really care
time
about
you
making
tell somebody, they ask you why you're working at this lame job and why you haven't made millions of dollars by now. And every time you have to tell them it's not that easy. It's like being a rapper or being a wrestler. You have to fucking have a lot of fucking passion and a lot of fucking skill and a lot of fucking luck. And they've all got to turn together in the right circumstance to make the right storm to keep you going. But that's the thing. You have to keep going. If you don't keep going and don't keep doing it, you'll never succeed. You got to fail
money from my
faster.
games that much. The goal of making a bunch of money was never consideration when starting off on this project 5 years ago. I wanted to make a game that I was happy with myself and that others could enjoy, as game development does feel like creating art to me, and it is a really fun hobby.
It is. It's a
But
super
at the
fun
same time,
hobby. I need to
I
get
won't
back
lie.
into it again.
I'm human, and I think it would be super cool to make money from my games.
I was just trying
Not so I
this
could go
out.
spend
I
it all
still
on
got
foolish
another month of
things, but
trying
more
this
so that I could
before
have my
I
mental freedom for
jump
my
back
future.
into it.
I always had those thoughts in the back of my head, like, maybe this game will make me a millionaire, even if I knew that was super unrealistic and only happens to the top 1% of the top 1%
Yep.
of game developers. But hey, those are what you always hear
But
about in media
you at
and all these
least
crazy
want to
success
make a
stories,
living
which I fear
off
can
of
lead
it.
new
You
developers
at least
have
want
unrealistic
to be
expectations.
able to make
That's a
games
big
and
reason
like
why I made this video.
make it
At the end of the day,
sustainable.
I'm really happy with the game
But
I
it's
created,
just
even
really
if the profit
hard.
was a little less than ideal. I guess I just thought my YouTube channel might have a bigger influence than it actually ended up having, and so that, with everything else, has been a huge learning experience for me to use.
Like he said, being a YouTuber is 10 times easier than being an indie game developer. And I don't mean that in that making a video game is hard. It's that getting a video game to, not only is making a video game hard, but then getting that video game to take off afterwards is extremely, extremely hard. Everyone always just says make a good game and people will come. Well, I will argue that I've made probably like 2 good games. Probably like 2 decent games. They're not flawless. I'm not going to say they're fucking perfect or anything, but they're good games. And both of them, I think I've roughly made $200 on both of them combined. So it's not make a good game and people will come. No, it's make a good game, people will come. Then you have to just get more people to come, and you got to get more people to come. You got to get more people to come. You got to always keep the eyes on your baby. Keep the eyes on your baby. Keep the eyes on your baby. If you don't make money. That's just how it works.
And genuinely, just reading all the positive comments and hearing people talk about how they enjoyed the game more than made up for any financial disappointment I could have ever had.
And that's the
Plus,
real
it's not
reason
like
we
this is
do
the
it.
end of-
Same here. That's like, because I've come to the conclusion that I'd rather just enjoy someone actually enjoying my game than having no one enjoy my game and having me have actually wasted my time. Because I've come to the conclusion that no one's actually going to pay for my games. So I make them and I release them for free half the time just so someone will actually play them.
The Slanky. I still plan to release updates this summer, and the game currently stands at 26,000 wishlists. So maybe we'll get some more conversions when the game goes on sale again, or if a big content creator
Being a real
decides to
asshole
cover
right
the
now.
game. So that's everything you might be curious about regarding Slimekeep's launch. If you thought my story was interesting, go buy Slimekeep. Or at least consider giving it a wishlist, as
Hey,
either
go
would
buy
help
his
me out a
game.
ton.
Go
Anyway,
buy his game. If you
thanks.
like this video, go buy his game. If you like this video, go buy my game. If you like this video, go support indie developers. They are the developers that actually care and want you to play their games. But other than that, let's move on to the next.